Thank you very much. And it's my pleasure to introduce now Gustavo Dziewczapolski, and he's going to talk some about patient registry. And sorry, just to say also that you're from CMD, and you talk on patient registry. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, the organizers, for the effort to put this important conference together. Thank you for all the audience of the different stakeholders for this community. And as Bram asked me to comment about the importance of patient registries, and so I'm talking about the Congenital Muscle Disease International Registry, or CMDIR. And it's a registry for many different congenital muscular disorders, but it has a sub-registry specifically for LAMA2. So why is it important to have a registry? And it's important because especially for rare diseases, to know how many patients we have out there, where in the world are they located. The data that you provide helps understand the genetic and phenotypic variability, and we can understand also better the quality of life and other stuff by self-reported surveys that we have in the registry. It's also helpful to identify adverse events, and at the time where there is a clinical trial or a clinical study available, having the registry facilitates recruiting for those clinical studies. And also is important when there is a need for collection of biological specimens for analysis and experimentation, and definitely contains vital information from affected individuals and their caregivers to help inform the clinical care and guide the research priorities. So just to show you a few examples of what we can see with the data from the registry, we can understand the geographical distribution and know how many patients are in different countries. Right now, there are 530 LAMA2 affected individuals registered from 57 different countries, and looking at the data from different natural history studies yesterday, it's clear that there are many patients in those clinical studies that are not registered here. So this is also a call for the physicians or the healthcare providers that are doing these studies to talk with the families to go to the registry and register. I didn't mention this is a family or a patient-reported registry. There are some other registries that are the data is entered by the physicians, but in this case, it's only patient-reported. And we can look at other data like the genetic status. In our cohort, we know that 72% have reported or confirmed pathogenic mutations. And we know that the rest, that the ones that are, they don't provided pathogenic mutations is in many cases because they haven't done genetic testing. In other cases, there is testing in progress, or they have find variants of unknown significance, so I'm not sure yet if the mutation is the pathogenic mutation or not, or cases where they have found only one mutation, but they couldn't find the second one. And always the registry can help us know this. By knowing this, we can help us help you find providers or find research labs that are looking for difficult variants to locate in the genome. And other example we can show with a this pie graph ambulation status, and we know that 11% of the patients in our cohort, in our registry, only 11% were able to walk at the time of registration, and 84% were never able to walk, or 5% were able to walk and lost the ability. And the last example or information is that we have surveys, topics that cover all the aspects of the CMDs in all the aspects that Alberto mentioned in the first talk this morning about motor function, respiratory function, cardiac function, gastrointestinal feeding, nutrition, orthopedics, everything, neurological function, and also different medical events, hospitalizations, the kind of medications or supplements you are taking, and all this is important to build knowledge and to build help with understand the disease better and understand the natural history study of the disease. So in a way, the CMDIR is in a way the patient voice, because with your help we can collect the patient's perspective, and the patient perspective today is considered more than ever by the different stakeholders, especially regulators and payers. The FDA and the EMA is now considering the opinion of the patients more than before. There is a trend now to try to understand better what the patients are experiencing and what they want for the future, or what they expect from a treatment. So it's important to have this data. With the data we have, we can help identify what are the most important symptoms of the disease for the affected individuals, and what would be a meaningful change, what would you expect from a therapy. We want to help achieving clinical trial readiness, and to help recruit patients to move the potential therapeutics in the pipeline to the next stage that is clinical trials. And also we can offer access to the identified data to clinical experts to understand better the disease, and in the case that we are working right now, update care guidance for families. So this is the landing page when you go to the CMDIR website, and I hope that you will consider register. Oh, and right now it's translated, it's in English and Spanish, and now with all the other patient associations in different parts of the world, I think we can work together to translate in many different languages, because that one is many times a barrier to have more patients registering. And so thank you for your participation, if you are already registered or if you will consider to register, and you can ask me questions now or by email to me, or especially to Rachel Alvarez, who is the motor behind the CMDIR.
Yeah, I have a question, Gustavo. The figures you presented at the beginning, the 530 patients, it's the one who are subscribed on the CMDIR, I suppose.
This one?
Yeah, it's just the one you got through the registry in America.
No. This is the whole world. The numbers 530. And I know I was looking at the database yesterday. We have 6 patients from the Netherlands, for example, and we know that Nicole Bormans is doing the natural history study with 28 patients. So they are not registered. Most of them, they are not registered. Or
that's why I was wondering, actually, this is through the CMDIR that you have these figures. It's that.
Yes.
So is it important because there are national registries or not? So that's a question of national question, let's say. But is it important, you think, from your point of view, that to encourage the patients we are in contact with to go
yes.
to the CMDR? And I would like to have the viewpoint of the clinicians as well on that. Is it redundant? How does it
definitely,
work?
because this is a patient reported, is free for every patient in the world to register. They don't need any permission, or they are the only ones that can consent to share the data or not.
So I just have a small, there is no problem, and I think we can work on that, but there is always the questions of the patients about the data and the sensitive questions. So if you can give us a bit more insight on how it is, or this kind of thing like this, we can more easily convince the patients to register, I think.
Yeah, even if you, for some reason, or because if your physician doesn't want you to share the data for any reason that I cannot understand, at least to be registered, having your name, where you live, is important. For example, in the video from the Indian family, they mentioned that they contacted us, and we were able, because we have the consent from the families, to share the address or email. So we put them in contact together. So at least for I mean, we can use the CMDIR. It's better to have all the medical data, but also as a list, a contact list is important too. And yeah.
Another question?
Yes, just I was thinking that maybe it could be important to have such number, no, or increase the number to convince the pharmaceutical companies to invest in LAMA2.
Yeah, well, thank you, because that's something I forgot to say. Many times when we are approached by companies, one of the first questions is, how many patients do you have? What's the prevalence of the disease? And this is very difficult to understand. The case of India, for example, with 1.4 billion people, and we don't know how many people are there, so it's impossible to have an accurate number of prevalence. But as much as we can spread the word and people register, we will have more accurate numbers.
Just wanted to highlight also Africa is great, and
Yes.
there have been international efforts also to increase, access for genetic testing in other countries in Africa. Clearly, it's a continent that still has, at least southern part.
Yeah, in February we had a conference, Treat and MD conference, and actually one of the themes of the conference was how to reach globally
And Central America as well. I mean, anyway,
yeah.
As many countries as possible. As clinicians, we can definitely, make families more and more aware of the opportunity to register as much as possible. Any other questions? Can see a hand there. The last one, and then we'll go on.
Hi, thank you for the presentation. I just wanted to ask you what type of data will be useful to all the people that are working, except number of cases. Is there any other information that would be good to collect? For example, I don't know, every year blood tests or every month and other things?
Especially the surveys that are very thorough, very complete, and I know that it takes time, and if you go to the database, you see that there are many gaps that where people didn't respond, but I usually call it the sleeping beauty, because we have an example a couple of years ago when there was we got funding to analyze Lama2 data for a retrospective natural history study, and as soon as we have that money and we publicize that, in less than 3 months we got 75 patients reaching out to provide the data and complete all the surveys, and that paper is now published a couple of years ago with a very good analysis of the data retrospectively, and it was helpful to make the protocols for the prospective natural history studies that are going on now in different countries. So yeah, we used to have a biobank attached to this, so we had patients providing muscle biopsies or blood samples, and of course we have all the clinical data attached to those samples, and we were distributing that around the world. Unfortunately, the biobank we had closed business, and so now we still have the tissue in a different lab at the NIH, but we were not able to have it organized in a way that we can ship the samples to other parts of the world, but we are working on that.
I think you highlighted all these efforts, registries, biobank needs fund as well, and
Oh yeah.
and you have to curate and update the data, and that's quite a lot of effort. I think we might have to go. Thank you very much, Gustavo. And